start day 2, we have none other than Mentoring SG's Executive Director, Mr. Kelvin Kong, who is a very strong leader and has a passion to support and mentor the youths. Today he will be sharing about setting your talents for success through mentoring for impact. So as cozy as we are right now, let's give him the warmest round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a quick check, can you all hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good morning. You know, this title, Setting Your Talents for Success, was given to the team about a month ago, thinking that I would see a lot of corporate and business people, business leaders here. But I decided that, from yesterday's turnout, we will have a mixture. We will have a mixture of people in this room. So I kind of, if you don't mind, I've actually kind of changed the title a little bit more. Setting you up for success at work through mentoring. And in this session, I'm going to be addressing not just the young people, the young talents, the job seekers, but also we'll be addressing corporate leaders as well as organizations as well. This is how I do it. So, very good morning. I know we are still strolling in. It's a little early. My name is Kelvin, and you've heard my introduction. I'm the Executive Director for Mentoring SG. I wear 2 hats. I'm also in the corporate world. I'm also a HR person. I look after HR for different organizations. I specialize in org transformation. Especially during this time, I've been very busy helping many organizations navigate the post-COVID syndrome. How do they get back on track? How do they rebuild their business strategy? And how do they build people and talents? Today, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about mentoring. No, I'm lying. I'm going to be sharing a lot about mentoring, and I think that is very, very, very crucial. However, I'm going to be sharing more in depth into what an employer thinks about when they think about talent, but also what they think about when they are trying to navigate change. Okay? So this article was pulled from World Economic Forum. It's something that represents the world, so not just in Singapore. But in Singapore, I'm sure you've heard a lot about, are we ready for the jobs of the future? If I may just add some meat to this, if you read the details, right, it talks about young talents, but the truth is, even people like me, mid-career, we also wonder, in 5 years' time, am I ready for what is needed in the workplace? Now in this, a lot of it, these are all global leaders, a survey among many, many global leaders around the world. They have fear. They are fearful that the talents we need for the future, and the future doesn't mean 10, 20 years, it just means 3 to 5 years, right? May not be able to catch up to what organizations need today. But when I ask them, what do your organizations really need today? Not many can actually tell me. So there is this, in the midst of all this conversation, there are lots and lots of uncertainties, and a lot of black holes, which we want to start to dive into. I think Mr. David Chua, our CE for Youth Council, yesterday talked about how, the career journey is not going to be so straightforward. There will be ups and downs, and that's the truth. The ability for you to be able to navigate, embrace it, be willing to make mistakes is very, very important. But when I talk to the corporate leaders, I say, are you ready then for your young talents to make a mistake? Now, why is everyone so worried? Because they know that in the next 5 years, 75% of the jobs, I don't know if the other speakers presents data or not, but I'm just quoting from World Economic Forum, okay? 75% of the jobs will be largely jobs that requires digital and tech skills. So when you look at that sector or that need, 77% fine. There's a couple of data that tells us what the world is thinking. First of all, we know that only 33%, 1/3 of the tech jobs are going to be filled with skilled workers, which means that about 66% of them will not be skilled enough. We also know that as much as we all want to learn, we might have started a little late. So the digital divide is getting a little bit wider. Today I was on a cab on the way here, and I made friends with the driver. He told me he has 2 kids, same as mine, 12 and 10 years old. 10 and 12 years old. And he's worried about his son's future. So he's trying to put his son into, I hope he didn't attend, he's not attending this, okay. He's trying to put his son into Singapore Sports School because he is very active. So he wants to let him be successful in the sports, right, instead of academic. But I think the question is, he also doesn't know if that's what is needed. We will not be able to know what is happening in the future. So how then do we know exactly what skills do we need? Lastly, 54% of these global leaders feel and believe that they will have lost competitive advantage due to talent shortages. Now, the question is, what are these organizations then doing? They're so afraid, right? They're seeing a real problem that's coming. I mean, as a HR person, I'm worried. But what are they doing? So I'm going to start to give you a glimpse into the world of the corporates. I'm generalizing across multiple industries. This is what all the HR people are constantly thinking about. Today, COVID has hit us. Today, investors have pulled back. Consumers have stopped spending. Suddenly, our board and our investors are telling us to tighten our belt, cut costs by 30%. What is the first thing they think about? Most organizations' headcount costs will be between 40 to 70% of their total cost. So of course they will usually think about people costs, isn't it? So they will be thinking about things like that. They'll be thinking, oh no, how can I maximize each individual so that when I pay this person, they can give me maximum output, right? Am I putting the right people in the right role? Do I have red tapes or do I have extra labor sitting somewhere where I don't really need? These are the very typical questions that they ask. But when it comes down to the HR view, they're asking themselves, if I don't have the right people in the right role, how then do I attract the right people? How then do I recruit them and make sure that they are excited about joining us? How then do I make sure that they do not leave us after 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months? They are thinking about how then they are quickly onboard. We used to have 90 days onboarding. To be honest, many of them are thinking, how do I have 1 week onboarding so that they can go into the job and start their work? Because we have no time to waste, right? They're also wondering, wow, of those top talents that come, or even in general, how do I develop them quickly to learn the new skills? Today, I learn Python. Tomorrow, I need the new tech skills. Today, I might be looking at a business model through this lens. But tomorrow, it's all about data centricity, data analytics. Everything has changed. Every role is starting to change. How can I help them learn and develop the new skills? If I have special talents I want to keep, how do I give them a separate track of development so that they can grow and learn? And last but not least, because our people today are telling us that purpose is very important. All the organizations are scratching their head to say, how can I then create a sense of purpose? How can I align my organization's purpose with my talent's purpose? So these are all the big questions that the organizations think about. Have you actually given this some thoughts? Because we talk about setting ourselves for success in our career. But very often, as I was sharing with the driver this morning, we put in a lot of effort. You know, like yesterday, we got a great exposure, right? We have people talking about different industry from gaming. Today we hear about esports. Yesterday we have advertising, and so much, even cosplayers, right? We have lots of great exposure. It gives you the willingness, the understanding. But sometimes the moment you hit the organization, that's where the slowdown happens. Your career journey may not be able to progress the way you may want. So in Mentoring SG, so this is where I take a step back and look at the introduction. The team works very, very hard. And I know many of them chose to be in this not because they want to get a job. Many of them gave up their full-time job to join us because they believe that we need to create an ecosystem in Singapore, whether is it publicly, in schools, in organizations, working with them to help each young talent, or each talent, be able to start first, plan, know, start, and grow their career, in an efficient manner. So that's why the efforts goes into corporates, goes into schools, and goes into nationally with the governments and everyone as well. So that's very, very much what Mentoring SU does. So now I will focus back on you. How can you then prepare yourself for this so-called corporate system? You know, it doesn't stop after a career fair and knowing what kind of jobs you want to apply for. It doesn't stop after knowing the right people to send your CVs to. It doesn't stop after an interview, right? Your career actually starts a lot is when you start to join them and how you grow meaningfully. We believe that the answer is not the only answer, but a very critical answer is mentoring. And now for those of you who are here and for those of you who are watching the video in the future, right, please spend some time to really think about what mentoring is about. Mentoring. First, let me explain in Mentoring SG, we are made up of hundreds of partners. Hundreds of partners from schools, from corporate organizations, a lot of the big brands you talk about from LinkedIn, Google, these are all our partners. They are stepping in because they say, I want to be part of this movement making. Have we started effectively doing a lot of great stuff? We started, but we have not reached where we want to be. We have our governments coming in from MOE, MCCY, NYC, our key sponsor, right? And many more. We have schools from polys, universities, ITEs, MOE schools, all coming together to say we want. That was the first step of success for us. We then define mentoring in a way that embraces everyone. So a mentoring to us is simply a positive and a relationship with a positive and experienced figure. Someone who is more experienced. Could be younger, but more experienced, right? Built on mutual trust and respect, where you are provided guidance and support, right? To be able to develop yourself. Develop yourself for not just in general, but also to navigate systems like this. So that as you move from one role to another, one company to another, there's clarity on what you're doing and how you move towards your purpose. So, we think that mentoring is important because we need to find our footing and place in this society where it's VUCA, right? I'm not going to tell you what's VUCA, volatile, uncertain. You know, that comes up many times in speeches. But truly, the world is just uncertain, right? And how do we find our place and footing? Imagine having someone who is just a 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, who has fallen into the pit hole before or who has walked a positive step, being able to share this with you so that you will not do the same. You will not fall into the pit hole, or you will do the right things to guide you. Imagine having multiple people journeying with you to share, but yet no one telling you what to do. Think about the benefits is to you, whether at work or even outside, right? So having to find your place and footing in society, look into social circles, communities, and help you to deal with the world, but we also want you to then be able to then be agile, innovative, creative. With such people giving you the assurance, it gives you a space to be able to dare to try, to dare to make mistakes. And of course, dealing with the cultures in the workplace, at home, or even outside. We then go into the workplaces, we interview employees. A lot of our partners run mentoring programs in-house. Some run for specific groups of people, like their high potential talents, leaders. Some, amazingly, they run it for everyone. They have hundreds of mentors availing themselves, being trained, you know, being the place where voices can be heard, right? So different organizations have different kind of mentoring programs, but in general, 97% of the mentees who have been interviewed said that, I don't know if you can read this though, they feel valuable in the organization. 37%, only 37% says that they somehow has a mentor though. So among the 37%, 97% says they feel valuable. Question for the whole team is, how do we then grow this to 60 to 80%, even 100%, right? And 89% of the mentees would then step forward after that to say, I also want to be a mentor, train me. Oh wow, it's actually so easy to get started. That is exactly why we decided this year, Mentoring SG, to move into corporates, and the team has been talking to them day in, day out, to try to partner them and encourage them. In the next months to come, you will see us feature some of these really amazing, creative corporate mentoring programs, which is meant for you. Now, how does this really work for you? Let me explain a little bit about how our motivation come about, how we grow, how we progress. If it's just about skills, unfortunately, while it's important, it's not the only thing. I can tell you that there is a skill gap today, train you, but if you're not willing, if you do not see a point, the organization is wasting their money on you, right? So how do we look at it in totality? And this is where I hope you can take some moment to reflect, and if there are questions later, we can answer after this. We look at this iceberg. In the iceberg, typically what happens is floats on water. The proportion is about 10% of it is visible, 90% is underwater. You can see some here, but the rest are underwater. It goes deep. Robert Dilts, a philosopher, some guy I learned all his wonderful theories from, has taught me many years ago about finding life purpose using this iceberg. It's about understanding that we are like an iceberg. On the surface, what's visible, what you can see me around here is my environment, my physical appearances, right? How I live my life, whether my house is messy, my desk, the clothes I wear. What you can also see is the way I behave. And that's how, unfortunately, a lot of people form a perception of one another. What you can somewhat see, but you may not know fully, is your ability, your skills, and your capabilities, right? So I may interview someone, I like this person, I like him or her, I hire him or her in, but I'm not able to see the full extent and potential of of the skill and their capabilities. Which is why, from here onwards, we need to be more self-aware. Belief is where values and belief, what's your value, what do you believe? It could be your childhood upbringing, it could be your religion that guides the way you believe life should be, the way success should be. And at the end of the day, it's about your identity. If today someone asks you, who are you? Recently, I have a couple of opportunities where people ask me, Kelvin, tell me about yourself. By the way, it's not an interview, it's just normal chat, right? I started off by saying, yeah, I'm a HR consultant, I do HR, work for a great organization, but I'm also running mentoring, SG, and then suddenly I paused. I said, no, who I am, let me rephrase that. I'm a father of 2 lovely children. I'm a husband of my dear wife. I love my family very much. I believe life is about helping others to find their purpose. Then they started asking me, what job are you doing? What is your job? I said, oh, now they're asking about my job. Okay, then I'm doing this. What is your identity? When someone asks you the question, what is the first thing you will say? So I believe that in life, we don't just look at skills. We look at the bigger picture about life. And hopefully, someone or some people can journey life with you to identify your very own iceberg. So, I will leave the rest of questions. I will not go too in depth. So what Mentoring SG is doing is that we want to work with our young people, our organizations, our mentors, to all come together within an ecosystem. And that's why, apart from the work that we do with partnerships, we partner corporates, we partner schools, we partner the government, we make mentoring available for our young people outside or even in organizations, in schools. But we also work to work with young people through many, many different channels to get you started. So this is one of my efforts, right, in JobStreet. They are a great partner, a great event. We're just trying to get our people here interested in mentoring. And we really thank the organizers for this event for helping us. How we do it is we build a platform called the Mentoring SG Connect. In this place, it's literally just a very simple connecting platform. Come into this platform, sign up for an account, immediately you have a place to ask questions. So if you have a lot of questions about life, about finding your values, your belief, about purpose, identity, you don't know where to get started and you do not want to find a mentor yet, you can even ask it anonymously. And we have people to try to respond to you. Maybe there's 1 or 2 persons who has been responding frequently enough that you feel like you want to reach out to this person and eventually to start a mentoring journey with him or her. Organic trust, organic rapport is important to us. Of course, we have lots of mentors. Today we have about 6,000 over on this platform of all our partners. The organizations are blasting out this and say, join and support Mentoring SG. So these people may not be very serious mentors, like structured mentors, 6 months, 1 year, they may not. They may do it in other programs, but on this platform, they're really just befrienders, understanding and listening. And hopefully they can usher you and encourage you, point you in the right direction. We also have communities. This is where you can join Bloom. This is a very interesting mentoring program with ITE. We have I Aspire helping fresh grads. We have other great programs, Elements. We have from all our partners. That's when, if you want to join a program, a mentoring program, they are all available through the communities as well. So this is where you can join them, follow them, and when the next program starts, you'll be updated on the platform. We're trying to do this. Behind this also sits a lot of great mentoring apps that we want to push to you and encourage to you. And this is our effort to try that. So Long story short, try it. Go into mentoringsg.com and give it a shot. We are in the process of moving it from the MVP it's really live, but we are going to the next phase of development, and it will soon be integrated with Mentoring SG as a one platform. Okay? So very simply, just a quick introduction. Going inside there, 70% of our mentees are interested in career and education. That's naturally. So a lot of our mentors are prepared to do that, but we also do have mentors who are trained and willing to talk a little bit about family and relationships, and also a bit about your self-esteem, self-confidence, how you look at your own iceberg and identify your purpose eventually. So we have different mix, but really we focus on the social mentoring space rather than very specific into one area. So, just to summarize why we are on MSc, you get answers from credible mentors. I cannot guarantee you 100% get your answers, but at least there is a platform for you to ask and be heard and get answers. You get informal mentors who listens to you, shares and ushers you to the right communities. You get communities who then connect you to the right mentoring program. It's a very progressive, very natural way for someone to grow. At the end of the day, we always focus on helping you find your iceberg. We are always helping you to find your purpose. At the same time, we also want you to know, in this session, we really need to know how then, can you navigate the world of the corporate, the world of the organizations. A mentor at work can also help you do that. Going back to the earlier point, think about it. What should I study? What job should I start off with? Having someone who has been there, done that, can give you some idea of where to start to apply, right? When you start your onboarding, most organizations, when they start your onboarding, you're thrown into the fire to serve, right? Imagine having one or two mentors or big brother, big sister there to tell you, hey, it's okay, this is the culture of the company. You know what, by the way, the toilet is there. Or maybe they say, hey, you know what, one of the quick ways to learn about this is to talk to John. John is a very nice manager. Right? Imagine having someone like that. It really shortens your onboarding. It makes it easy for you to understand and be successful in your organization. Go find a mentor. Even if the organization don't have a mentoring program, find a mentor. I'm always going to someone to say, hey, would you mentor me? So give an example, Mr. David Chua, our CE for Youth Council, I've asked him that a year ago, and he has invested his time on me. He's been working, supporting me, coaching me throughout a lot of ups and downs in my life as well. Do that. I encourage you to ask, will you mentor me? Will you guide me? Right? So at the end of the day, really take charge of your own success in life. I really hope that this session here will just encourage you to get started, because it's only when you get started, then you will start to expose yourself to a world of possibilities, and that's when you can truly tell yourself what I like, what I don't like, and most importantly, do so with a mentor. Right? Thank you.
All right, we'll be opening up the
Hi, I feel your talk really resonates to my heart, and I have a full-time job now, and I would like to join Mentoring SG. So what are the steps? Like how long will there be training? How long will there be training? And what are the commitments? Like once a week, twice a week, or how is it?
Thank you. May I know your name?
It's Valerie.
Valerie. Okay. So this question, Valerie is asking a very good question, but I think I'll address it as a general thing, right? Because every one of you may want to get started for different reasons. Some of it is job related, some of it is other reasons, right? So there are a few ways to do that. The easiest way is just to go onto mentoring.sg, which is you can scan here. This is our main website, right into our concierge. It sounds horrible, we're not a hotel, right? But the thing is that we have some friendly person there who is willing to try to point you to the right place. A live person, not a bot. I don't think we're that advanced yet to build a bot. Maybe with ChatGPT we can, but we're still having someone live to do that. But if not, just get started onto the platform. Just create an account. You can use your Google to sign up. But imagine, once you're there, you can start to search and befriend and talk to people who have raised their hands to say, I don't mind sharing a little bit more about what you do. So if you want exposure, you can start doing that. Now, if you want a more structured program, we have tons of amazing programs through our partners. We partner with Exec, Advisories, we partner with Halogen Foundation, with Reach, YMCA, Voices of Asia, many of these partners who run amazing curated programs, right? Get started first, join the communities or go to our concession and say, I need a program like that with this outcome, could you recommend it to me? I think that's the easiest way to get started without overcommitting, right? Then you can ask yourself, oh, this program is 3 months, this is the kind of mentors they have, am I ready? Or maybe I'll do it in the next round. Give yourself the freedom of choice to do that. So the aim of Mentoring SG is to make it accessible for you and to let you know that this exists.
All right, thank you, Valerie, for that question. Do we have any other commitments?
Like I asked for like
Sure. Commitments, right?
Yeah, what the commitments?
So the commitments only happen when you are in the program itself. But if you are doing the social mentoring ones, really it's just like LinkedIn, right? If you connect with someone on LinkedIn, what's the commitment? It's really personal responsibility to have conversations, and if you choose to meet up outside, that's something you can do to have coffee and just to understand, or even a virtual session. But once you join the program is managed by our partners. And the partners will have a certain level of different commitment, like once a month, once every 2 weeks, 3 months. So I think that's where you can kind of ask the concierge or even search yourself to see which one is the one that works for you at this point. Thanks,
So
Fanny.
very much depending on whatever you are joining, essentially, right, for the programs.
That's right. I think our first step is just to be able to point you in the right direction.
Is the target audience that we are going, like, let's say I want to mentor, but I want to focus on a specific age range, like I want to help out the youth, like teenagers, like what are the age range available?
Valerie is asking all the very good questions. Right? Imagine Mentoring SG represents Singapore. So we do, after a couple of years, want to make this available to every Singapore resident. Right? So it's not going to be just you. We started with the young people. That's where it is. We have been focusing until even next year, end of next year, we're going to focus on the up to 15 to 25 years old. Right? But we don't forget that our average age on Mentoring SG Connect today is about 38 years old. A lot of the people from 25 and above are there. Many of them are also mentees, but they are also mentors. So in a way, we do have our mentees from older ages there. It's just that we haven't really turned their attention to them. But we will eventually over time as more and more people. I think the eldest person I have there is almost 80 years old, right? So we have a way of managing demographics and growing with Singapore over time. So I can give you a specific one, but for each of the programs that you join, they have very specific target age of people they want. So I suggest you can go to our website and then see the different partners that we have, who are the youths that they're serving. Some is school, some Sec 3, Sec 4, where the young people are still very dependent on parents, recommendation, schools recommendation. Some of them are in tertiaries, poly, ITVs, universities. Different demographic, different styles, different needs. The programs are all customized for them, the partners programs.
All right, let's do a quick check if anyone else has a different question, another question to ask. I guess anything with regards to mentoring, or maybe even some personal questions for Mr. Kelvin, like, okay, maybe I'll ask it, then we can keep the ball rolling.
Yes,
so my question is, you mentioned that you're working in HR, and then now you're also part of Mentoring SG, right? The job part of it. So what made you decide to also be a part of Mentoring SG on top of your HR?
Thank you. So I started to work with young people 13 years ago. At a point of time, Mentoring SG didn't exist yet. I started it because I was working for Unilever, and I work in a global role where I was out of Singapore 70% of my time. It was very tough. My daughter was born then. I almost missed her birth, right? And there were many times I was struggling when I would be in Russia, in Brazil, and I would be suffering because I can see the pictures of my little daughter and I couldn't deal with it. I wasn't sure if I should ask my boss to cut down on my travels because it's very outcome driven, right? I'm looking at global, I need to be there, I need to deliver. So it's me actually struggling between the work I do versus the space I need to live a more complete life, my iceberg. However, when one day I decided to ask, the whole organization turned around and to make it work for me. Starting with one day when I was in Russia doing a leadership training, and then my daughter had a fall, so she had blood all over her face. My wife sent me a message, right, for WhatsApp. When I saw it, I was affected. When the leader of the organization, of the Russian team, heard that, immediately he stopped my training. He took over and made it a business meeting. he sent me on a plane right back. Oh, by the way, I'm doing employer branding for Unilever, but yeah, that's what they did, right? And that's when I asked myself, how many people actually out there have got such a supportive environment around them? If I expect the company to do it, it will take a very long time because a company is basically full of a good intent, but the system make it hard to impact, isn't it? But if I can impact every manager to believe in doing something, I can have immediate impact on that individual. So that was how it all started. 13 years ago, we started Voices of Asia because we wanted people to know that you can impact. The time we didn't say mentoring though. We just said you can impact your employee, you can impact the person that you are shepherding, you are taking after. So it just passed very quickly over time, and we realized that we have the gap. We can do good works. Every organizations there are doing great works. Our partners, our service providers are all doing good works. But we are not able to scale. The supply of what we do is not able to scale as fast as the needs out there. So how then can we do that? We have to use technology in a good way, right, to make that happen. So that's why I've been actually navigating my career. I've been negotiating with my employers to say, can I do part-time for this season? And I want to do this. Sometimes I stopped work and I did this. I took sabbaticals a few times to do this, right? And those who work with me, you know, I've been juggling between that, right? But I believe that until we reach a certain stage where we have that right environment and the right platform for our young people, then we know that our work is done for that milestone. And then I will see what's next. So that's more personal, right? It's the decisions that we all have to make in our life. Yeah, but I think even personally for me, I wasn't HR, I was HR for 7 years only. But I spent 16 years looking at P&L, looking at commercial and driving results for organizations. So as a Unilever, I was in business, right? I wasn't in HR. So even that, so it's true mentoring. Then I started to understand that, hey, I found out the strengths and the weaknesses for myself. I was encouraged to take the step of faith, to go into the next chapter bravely, even though I have no exposure. Yeah, and it's really through the mentors. I watched on YouTube, there was a speaker that says, you know, I could have a whole shelf of books. Anyway, it's Dan Lok. This guy called Dan Lok. I don't know who is he, but I just watched it. He said, I have a whole shelf of books over there. And if you ask me which book is good, my answer would be, they're all good. But I only can tell you is that if you say that you have a lot of books but you don't actually read it, you cannot improve. Now a mentor will tell you which book to get started. Think about how you can make your life much more efficient through that. So that's why we all are so committed into this. We wanted the world to know, get started with mentoring today. You may not be perfect in the system, but get started. Meet someone and let it work. Yeah.
I think really resonate with your answer. A lot of people say that, you know, there are many doors in front of you and you have to choose which door you want to open. But I guess in Mentoring SG's case, you have already opened the door. All they need to do is literally just step forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Last call, any other questions? No? Okay. It seems like we are done for this segment. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Kelvin.